A minted father who is unwilling to spend money to raise his newborn twins asks his wife to give up one baby for adoption. He kicks her out with the babies when she refuses and knocks on her door for help 5 years later. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. It was a cold, rainy night, and Angie cradled her newborn babies at the bus stop. "Where will we go? Jesus, please help us. Shelter us as we wait out this rough night," she cried. Angie had nowhere to go, and her parents had died long back. Angie never imagined her life would turn topsy-turvy overnight. She never thought her husband Jake, who she trusted and loved throughout their marriage, would kick her out with their babies just a week after their birth. "How I wish my mom were with me today. Sorry, Mama, I should have listened to you and not rushed with my marriage with Jake," sobbed Angie, thinking about her late mom. Angie met Jake after graduation 5 years ago. He was a young, handsome man, and she thought he was the one. They fell for each other in what would turn into a fairy tale love story, but with one exception, there was no happily ever after in Angie's case. Problems sparked in the 4th year of their marriage when she told Jake she was pregnant. "But darling, you know I've just started my business. We have postponed baby planning all these years, and I am not ready to be a father yet." Jake was upset when Angie showed him the 2 pink lines on her pregnancy test kit. Jake's reluctance to be a father showed he was unprepared for responsibilities. Poor Angie was torn between his disapproval of having children and her desire to have as many as possible. But was Jake prepared to know Angie was pregnant with twins? "I am okay with having a baby, you get it? I mean, one baby is enough," said Jake as Angie walked into the ward for scanning. "I pray that you don't come out and tell me we are having twins," he joked, his mouth curved into an ironic smile. Moments later, fate joked back at him. Angie came out, distressed and worried. She was pale while she was supposed to be blushing and smiling. "What is it?" he asked her, impatient for her reply. "What did the doctor say?" Angie swallowed her fear and spoke out, partly guessing Jake's reaction. "Our babies are fine," she said. "All right, wait, what, babies?" he exclaimed. The scan Angie took minutes ago gave her a glimpse at 2 tiny lives growing inside her. She was pregnant with twins, and Jake was not happy about that. Jake grew distant from Angie day by day and focused only on making more money. She knew he was upset about having twins and assumed he would cool down with time. But it only worsened during her 3rd trimester. Angie was in the hospital, waiting for Jake to see their newborn twin baby girls. But he never showed up. Jake did not want to get involved with his babies. He didn't even welcome them home or hold them. He was unhappy and unprepared to be their father. Angie returned home with her newborns that evening, knowing little about Jake's condition. "We keep only one child and give the other up for adoption. If you are okay with it, we are a family. If not, you can leave the house with them," he told Angie. At first, Angie thought Jake was kidding. He dragged her suitcase to the living room and placed it in front of her, indicating he was serious. Angie was devastated. "They are our babies, Jake. How could you ask a mother to give up her baby? Are you out of your mind? Both my babies are our symbol of love," she cried. But Jake was stubborn. "My business has just started to flourish, and I don't have the time to focus on family. I don't want to waste my hard-earned money on 2 babies. You can stay in this house as long as you agree to keep just one baby or leave if you want to keep both. Decide wisely, dear," he said, despite knowing Angie had nowhere to go. Angie snapped to her present and found herself still deserted at the bus stop, cradling her babies. "Where will I go? Please help me, Jesus," she cried. "Hello there, are you all right? It's raining heavily. Would you like a ride, my dear?" An older woman called out to her from a taxi. Angie looked up and saw a nun. She wrapped her babies in her jacket and approached the car. "Oh my, how adorable your babies are," exclaimed the nun. "Get in, I'll drop you. Where do you want to go?" "I don't know, sister," said Angie. "My path is dark, and I am lost. I don't know which way to go. My babies and I were abandoned by someone dear to us." The nun understood Angie's misery and immediately took her to the convent. Angie and her daughters, Sophie and Marley, found a safe shelter to wait out the rough days of their lives. Angie taught in the school administered by the church. She also worked part-time in a restaurant, and 2 years later, she saved a good chunk of money to start her cafe. Gradually, Angie was able to give her daughters a better life, though it could have been much better had their father been involved. Moreover, Angie did not regret her decision not wanting to divorce Jake. Deep in her heart, she hoped he would realize his mistake and come for them someday. 5 years passed, and Angie now had her own house. It was quite small yet comfortable. She spent the best years watching Sophia and Marley grow up. There were times when Angie used to struggle without enough profits in business, but her faith and determination motivated her. She launched 2 more coffee shops in town, and gradually, her fortune grew. But in the other part of town, Jake's business tanked. He was drowned in debt, and everybody he sought financial help from refused to support him at the last minute. Jake knew how rich Angie was now and thought only she could help him. "Hey, how are you?" Angie answered the door one day when she least expected to see Jake at the doorstep. "Come in." Jake vaguely smiled and immediately apologized to Angie. "Darling, I'm so sorry for abandoning you. My greed to earn more money cost me big. I am bankrupt, and it's the best punishment I deserve for kicking you out with our babies. Please forgive me, and please help me." Angie now understood why Jake had come. She had learned about his loss in business but never thought he would visit her and apologize, let alone ask for help. Jake saw a photo of Angie with their daughters and cried. "I'm sorry, sweethearts. Please forgive your daddy," he said. Angie's heart melted, and though she knew Jake had come crawling for help, she was willing to do it because she still loved him. "But darling, I will not be able to repay such a huge amount of money. I will need time. I was such a cruel husband and a heartless father. Are you sure you want to help me?" he sobbed when Angie gave him a check worth the money he wanted. "The night you kicked me out, I learned what greed is and how it can ruin relationships. And today, I learned what forgiveness is. What are we going to achieve by holding on to our past grudges? Nothing. Everyone makes mistakes, but as humans, we must learn to forgive one another," said Angie. Jake realized his mistake and promised to take Angie and their kids back once he sorted his business issues. He wanted to be a good father to his children and compensate for the heartbreak Angie endured all these years.